Listen to the vibes.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Vibes, and I love to welcome here J.F. Monroe, who is an author. I'm assuming this is a lot of action and adventure, Lord of the Rings kind of stuff. Well, we're going to get to know J.F. and a little bit about the book. So tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah, absolutely. First off, Kyle, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you letting me on the show.
My pleasure.
Um, I am JF Monroe. I am the author of The Legendary Guardians Reunions, which is the first book in a fantasy romance trilogy called The Legacy of the Four. Book two, actually, exciting news, just dropped on July 15th. So 2 days ago, it launched, which is really exciting. And it's a trilogy that really covers, a lot of mythology, a lot of adventure, just like you said, but also these like really messy, deeply human emotions that make the stories stick with you, at least from my perspective. So, for example, my book has angels and demons and epic battles, and but at the heart of it all is these characters who are struggling with like identity and choice and love and resilience. And so that is my main focus throughout the trilogy. And when I'm not being JF Monroe, which is a pen name, I am a born and raised New Yorker. I lived for most of my life in the Bronx. I just
Mm.
recently, about 3 years ago, moved to Westchester. I traded up people for deer and I never looked back. I enjoy hanging out with my husband and my newly turned 7-year-old son and our one-eyed dog. His name is Opie. And yeah, I play way too many video games. I watch way too many movies, and I do that all with copious amounts of coffee. So, it's a little bit about me.
Did you grow up reading Tolkien and Doyle and all those?
I did. I stand by, I had spoken about this in a to a previous podcaster. I stand by that. I started Tolkien too young. I was pretty young when I started Lord of the Rings. I didn't have an appreciation or I think a maturity for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went and saw the movie at a later date. And believe it or not, the movie sent me back to the books. And when I read them when I was older, it blew my mind. It was like reading a different book entirely. I was like, this was not the experience that I had had prior. But yeah, Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe. Of course, as I continued to get older, Harry Potter, um, all of that stuff. I'll eat it up. I will eat all of it up for breakfast. I love stuff like that. Anything to just kind of like go away for a little while is really exciting for me.
I think I was about 8 when I read The Hobbit, and they had that old Rankin and Bass cartoon,
Yes.
and I actually saw that after I read the book, and it was just a whole new world.
Yes, it really is. Really done very well.
And you got into writing. What really, inspired you to do this other than say a Twilight kind of book,
I read that one. I did. I'm telling you, I read it all. What inspired this particular book? It happened when I was on maternity leave, so roughly like 7 years ago. Um, I was doing nothing. I couldn't go to work, and I was just kind of lounging about. And I had watched a TV show that mentioned the Four Horsemen. And I don't know what it was about that particular television show, but I was intrigued. And I was
Mhm.
like, it made me realize I didn't know a lot about them. And so I did like some research. I found out what I could. And from there, it just took off in my brain. It just like piece by piece puzzle. I like to call them like little puzzle pieces. I started to build up this narrative in my brain, and it started as a script. I went to school. I was in the drama club. I wrote scripts. I took script writing courses. When I got to college, I was, creative writing major, classics minor. I wanted all of it. Like I love storytelling and I loved writing. And I learned very early on that I wasn't, and this is not like, I'm just being completely transparent. Like I was not a good verbal storyteller. Like I couldn't sit down and tell you a story. I'm one of those people that will sit down and I'll go off on like five different tangents while trying to tell one story. It's not appealing. um, but when I sat down and I wrote a story, there was just this beautiful flow of the narrative. And so I was like, I want to write a script. It makes the most sense. I started to put it together. It started to come alive. But I'm sure, as you know, you've seen movies. I see your background. Like scripts are supposed to be 90 minutes,
Right.
like 90 pages, 120, maybe. You're really pushing it with 120 pages. This narrative would not stop at 120 pages. I think I was halfway through and I was still at the beginning. And so I kind of sat down with myself and was like, okay, this isn't a script. What is it going to be? And then I kind of came to terms with the fact that, okay, we're going to try to write a book. We're going to see how that goes instead. And it was really nerve-wracking, but really exciting. Because when you're first writing a book,
Mhm.
nobody's reading it. It's just you. And
Right.
so you're basically just kind of telling yourself the story. There's a really great quote I always went back to. I'm going to butcher it, so I really apologize to the person who said it. But they said, like, the first draft is you telling yourself the story. And I love that quote because there's no pressure there.
Right.
Who knew if I wanted to publish it or not? It could stay in my laptop, it could go somewhere else. It was just for me. And so as I kept that going, nothing mattered but the story to me. And it just kind of carried me all the way through, not to one book, but to three.
In the brainstorming process, I know I write stories for myself. I don't want anybody else reading it. But in the brainstorming, it seems like my mind is going in a million different places at once. Do you have that problem?
I do. So with the first book, I was everywhere and nowhere at the same time. And I had to become very okay with that very quickly. It's why the first book took me the longest.
Hmm.
It took me a ton of time to write just because you start with an idea and you kind of just want to like snap your fingers and be like, book, like appear. But no, you have to write, 300 plus pages to make that story come alive. And that seems pretty daunting when you first think about it. And so when I had that initial idea, I'm like, I could do this, I can do that, and I can do this instead of just typing out exactly what the story entailed and then going back and making your edits and adding things here and there. And so I did a lot of that with book one. And you can see that there's pros and cons to doing that. So like in book one, I'm going to be completely honest. It's not perfect. I read through it still and I'm like, I could have probably tightened that up a little bit, like I could have fixed that, but it's out in the world now. So, so somebody else is going to figure that one out for me. Um, but it was my learning process carried out in that first book. It was just, I had such a learning curve because I never did anything like this before. I didn't wake up one day and say, okay, I'm going to write a book and that, everything came out easy. It was a growing moment for me
Hmm.
through the first book. And I think readers are going to be able to see that. Like once they read the first book and then they go into the second, there's such a difference in the first book is great. To me, I love the first book. It's a foundation, it sets the stage. But the second book, I think you can see what I learned in the first book. And so I just kind of carries through to the third book till we bring it home.
Well, I think with the inexperienced or the beginning writers, I think they have in their heads that they're going to write out the complete story in the beginning instead of just letting themselves, like you say, tell the story to yourself, get an idea of what you want, and you can go back and maybe add a little bit later on, fix this later on. Do you ever mentor the younger writers?
I mean, I would never say no to an opportunity. I'm always looking to kind of get my story out there just because I do think it's unique in that I started from nothing. There's so many resources out there on how to write a book, what particular platform to use. Use Word, use this, use that. Oh, make sure your indents are correct. Watch this with editing. Can become very overwhelming for people, myself included. I can't
Mhm.
download a ton of information like that without like freezing up and being like, forget it. I'm okay. We're good. I don't got to do this. Um, and so what I had promised myself when I had decided, like, hey, we're gonna give this a shot, nothing is set in stone. Nobody knows you're looking to publish. You don't even know if you're going to publish. There's nothing. You're very flexible. Just sit down, breathe, and just write out a story. Don't worry about formatting too much. We're going to get to that part, but just get the story down and see where it goes. And
Mm,
then it just, you learn as you go. And honestly, that's what I would try to pitch to other younger writers if I could, because I see it. And, we could talk a little bit about social media in a bit, but I see it all over social media in like the book talks and the bookstagrams, the subgenres of like the big social media platforms where they are so hard on themselves and they are so stressed out and they're just,
yeah,
I feel so bad because I come onto a podcast and I'm just happy. Like, I'm so happy. Like, I wrote a book and it's out there and I'm so excited about it. And I just want to tell everybody about it because, you'll either like it or you don't. But I want to hear about it because this is the fun part for me. Like, the fun part was writing it. And now I have to kind of like market it. Less fun, but I still have such joy because now these two books exist. Going to be a third book. Like, they're out there with my name on it, my pen name, but I'm there, I'm there, and
right.
that's just such an accomplishment. And I don't think a lot of young writers sit with that for a second. Like, hey, you wrote a book, and now it's, you can use Amazon, you can go different from like trad publishing now. Like, you could go and do independent publishing like at your fingertips, and you wrote a book, and you should just be able to sit with that and be proud of that for a little while and not worry like if you're the next, you know Lord of the Rings or Hunger Games or Harry
Right.
Potter and just be, Legendary Guardians Reunions and Descent into the Void Heart and what other indie books are out there. Like, I really think it's a mindset shift. And if that's what I could convey to younger writers, that's what I would try to convey.
Over the years, I've seen technology just take off, and AI is playing a big part in everything. This generation is seeing some remarkable things, and although it's a great tool to have, if you're using it right, do you think that it's going to take over for folks like you that want to put ideas down?
It's a very, very scary question. But I'm going to try to answer it as diplomatically as I can,
Hmm.
because I see it like this is a huge topic everywhere, especially in the creative field. I don't agree with AI in art, and I don't agree with AI in writing. I also try to be as realistic as possible. Things like this are happening already. It exists, it's out there. They have our books, they have our art, they're going to use it. And it's only like AI is growing, it's not going to stop. And
Right.
so, do I think it's a wonderful tool? I do. I do in many capacities. Would I love it to stay out of the creative field? Yes. Is it going to? No, I don't think so. And so, I do think you're going to start to see a lot more of it. Try to adapt different types of work. I don't think they're there to the point of replicating it entirely. So, I do think that we have an edge just being like, we are human, we have emotions that dictate how we do things, and AI is a computer program that doesn't. And so there's a stark difference there. Um, but is it here? Yes. Is it going to stay? Yes. Do we have to start to accept that? You don't have to, but I think life would be easier if you started to accept it, and then we could try to find ways around it to keep it away from our work. Is
It's
the best diplomatic answer I can give on it.
it's in the music industry now.
I know. I know.
It's crazy. I've heard them that they're taking artists that have passed away and using AI to not only write a song that would be something they would write, but even using their voice and everything in it. It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. And I don't support it. But
No.
I want people to realize that though I don't support it, I do understand that it's here. And I hope others do too, because it's again, it's not going anywhere. Like, it's not going anywhere. So that's that's just what it is.
You know, my generation got to see it go from eight tracks to cassettes to CDs outside of vinyl. And I fought against CDs in the beginning. It took me a while.
Right.
I'm like you. I kind of like to keep it. I mean, I'm not against progressing, but I do
Good.
kind of like the old fashioned way of doing things.
Me too. Me too. And then it makes people mean, like it starts wars on social medias of people who might have confessed like they used AI to edit a portion of their book, and then they get, almost condemned from different, individuals who are very, very against AI in every capacity. And I don't want to condemn anybody. It's hard out there, and so if you can't afford an editor and you turn to AI, do I like it? No. But am I gonna yell at you on social media? No, I'm not. I'm not gonna do that. I mean, everybody's different, and I think we're all just trying to get by and do the best we can with what we're given. And so I just try to have empathy when I can with that, um, and know that I'm very proud of my book, and I'm sure AI has it to some extent, but I don't even think I'm that popular, so maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Like it could be in there, it could not be in there. Who knows? Um, but I feel like once you put that thing like in a library or on the internet, like there, it's theirs for the taking, and it's not right, but it's there.
Now, are you going to continue stories like that in the future, or are you going to look to go to something else?
So that's a really awesome question. I am focused very much on this trilogy, getting this trilogy completed. So I got book two out. I want to get book three out. And then I got some stories brewing in my head. Nothing complete yet, but I'm messing around with a few things here and there. So you might see me pop up a little bit more than just this trilogy. I won't make any commitments or anything like that. Life, doesn't abide by any type of plans, but I'm happy to say that I got some stuff in my Microsoft Word documents, and if they come to life, I'm happy to publish them. I've gotten very good at being okay with people reading my stuff. And in the beginning, in book one, I was terrified and I was nervous and I had a lot of intrusive thoughts going on up here. And but book two's release, I feel really good about it. It's different. I feel like a weight has been lifted. I'm excited about it a lot more. And so, yeah, I think you'll be seeing some more stuff from me in the future.
Are you going to stick along that genre?
Fantasy romance is hard. Um, it's very difficult. A lot of people are dabbling in it.
Hmm.
I'd love to try a different genre. If I can. Like this one took a lot out of me, this trilogy, like in the fantasy realm. I did it. I'm so happy with it. I think I might need some rest. Like I'd love to do like a horror or something like
Oh,
that. Like something like so different outside of or like even like a contemporary romance, just something like a little bit lighter than the heaviness that was this trilogy for me. So I would probably try to get a little bit out of it.
do you have a website?
I do. It is jfmonroebookshelf.com.
All right. And what is your social media?
So I just for consistency purposes, it is the same on TikTok as it is on Instagram. It is jf.monroe.
Make it simple.
Please. Best
and
way.
and where all can people get your books?
You could get it so the first book you could get on Amazon, Kindle Unlimited for free, I believe, and regular Kindle as well. And Audible. It is actually on Audible too, which is
Hmm.
pretty exciting. The second book just released. It's on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited.
All right. Well, I will put all your links in the description to make it easier for folks to find you. And when the next one comes out, let me know. I want you to come on and plug it.
I would be honored. Thank you so much. That'd be awesome.
Well, thank you for coming on the show.
You are very welcome. You have a good one, Kyle.
And also want to thank all you folks out there. If you are new to the channel, I hope you'll come back. Please hit that subscribe button. For my regulars, you guys are awesome because you make it possible for me to do this. Until the next one, everyone, please take care. Be kind to one another. God bless and peace.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favourite podcasts. And on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network